Let's take a look at the difference between tall and high again. Before we get there, let's start with the pronunciation of the word itself. Tall,
tall, tall,
tall. Okay, so here in the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, you can clearly see two paragraphs that highlight the difference between the two adjectives. Okay, so we have high and tall. So high is used to talk about the measurement from the bottom to the top of something. The fence is over 5 meters high. He has climbed the world's highest mountain. So we're talking about the height, like from the bottom to the top. So for instance, if you have a building, you start from the bottom and then you talk about its top, right? That is the height of the thing from the bottom to the top. Okay. So here it says that you can also describe the high, you can also use high to describe the distance of something from the ground. And this is where most people think that high only describes the distance and not the height. And this is a common misconception because it describes distance as well. It's correct, right? But it also describes height. Do not confuse it, okay? So high has two meaning, two purposes. One of them is the distance from the bottom to the top, and the second is the height. Okay, so you can have, for instance, let me see if I can draw it somewhere here. Okay, so when something is high, for example, this thing here is high, it means from the ground, is way above the ground. Okay, so it's high in the sky, for instance. It does not have to be like connected to the earth to in order for you to tell the height. Okay, so it's actually high right now. You can also have this building, which is high, this thing, which is high. Both of these things are high. Okay, we're talking about the height of the thing. Both of them are high. Okay, and then it describes tall. It says tall is used instead of high to talk about people. This specific information about people. So instead of saying high for people, you can simply say people are tall. My brother is much taller than me, not higher than me, but taller than me. Tall is also used for things that are high and narrow, such as trees. So this part is really important again. Being high and narrow means tall. So tall is more specific, okay? So a thing has to be tall and what? Narrow. Okay, so two important things in the definition of the word tall. Actually, forgive me. So the things have to be high and narrow to be tall. Okay, high plus narrow. Those are tall. A thing that is high and narrow is tall. For instance, a pole, right? An electric pole might be tall because it's usually narrow. That's why we say this is a tall pole or a high pole. Usually you would simply call it a tall pole. Okay, tall pole. Because it's so thin, right? It's so thin, it's not wide. However, if it were wide, that's important. If it were wide, you would actually say it's high, not tall. For instance, this thing is really high, right? You'll simply call it high because it's wide as well, so it's wide. So for instance, this is a wall. This is a wall. And walls are high, not tall, because you don't make tall walls, you make high walls. That's important. Okay, so the difference between tall and tall and high is that high is a more general term, and tall is specified for thin and high things. Thin and high things. Okay, I hope that explains the difference.